If you have financial stress and worry in your life, you've come to the right place. What's up everybody, David here with Free2Be, and thank you for joining me for this video. Now in today's video, I'm going to go over 8 ways to deal and manage financial stress. Because let's face it, we've all dealt with financial stress at some point in our lives. Some of us may be even faced with it right now. And while you might feel hopeless and feel like there's no end in sight or there's no solution for you, that is not true at all. In fact, there are ways to manage your financial stress and really optimize and help and work on your financial stability. Now, before I get started, as always, if you are new to my channel, I cover financial literacy here in an effort to track my progress to financial independence. And hopefully by doing that, I'm creating valuable content that others can use in their pursuit of financial independence as well. So if you haven't done so already, please take a moment and just click the subscribe button down below. I really do appreciate the support. And if you're not new to the channel, thank you for coming back again. All right, so what is financial stress? Well, it has the word stress in it. So as you can imagine, it's a stressful thing, but financial stress specifically deals with burdens or worries over money, whether it's job loss, a large amount of debt, some kind of other financial burden that you're faced with in your life that you did not expect, something that popped up, whether it's medical expenses or cost to care for a loved one. It's just having to deal with something that really is adding an additional layer of stress to your life, but it's based on finances. So how do you deal with those? Well, it's not unlike managing any other type of stress, but there are certain things to focus on when dealing with financial stress. And honestly, I think one of the easiest ways to avoid financial stress in general is to have a good budget in place, have a good grasp on your finances, because that will ultimately put you in a place where you understand your world and you won't be so easily stressed out over money. But if you are finding yourself stressed, let's go over the list. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have a good focus and good grasp on your finances. You want to know exactly how much you're bringing in and how much is going out. You need to understand that because that is the biggest part of this puzzle. You have to know that if you're bringing in, $10 a month and spending $12 a month, you're overextending yourself and you're going to put yourself in a really bad situation if something unexpected pops up. And again, this doesn't need to be a daily exercise, but at least once a month, understand exactly how much you've spent that month and how much you've made that month from all your income sources. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to prioritize what needs the most attention in your life. So if you're in a situation right now where you are in debt, you need to focus your energy on paying down that debt. If you're in a situation where you might not have an emergency fund, or you might be saving up for something big, focus your energy on what is most important to you right then and prioritize the rest of the list. So maybe you put them in descending order of what is most important in your life at that moment, and whatever money you have left over every single month, and allocate a little bit of money to each item on your list. Now from there, you might be thinking, hey, what happens if I'm making $10 a month and I'm spending $10 a month? Well, in that scenario, you're going to have to take a look at your expenses and try to cut out whatever you can. And I've covered things like this in other videos as well. When you're creating a budget, if you're trying to save money, you're going to have to inevitably cut out some expenses. And whether they're recurring expenses like, streaming services, cable, internet, whatever it is, you're gonna have to figure out ways to cut those costs. Do you really need to have a $100 a month gym membership if you're only going twice a month? Probably not. Cut that out. That's an easy $1,200 a year. Now the next thing is you take a look at your list, and if anything other than debt is number one, you're gonna wanna move debt up there, because debt is one of the biggest things that creates financial stress in our lives. In fact, there have been studies done on the psychiatric impact debt has on our emotions, on our lives. Debt actually leads to things like depression and just feeling really bad about yourself. There's just a stigma to having debt. So if you can, work on paying that off first, because that will eliminate a lot of financial stress. I promise you when I tell you this, I know from experience, the more debt you have, the more stressed you are about money all the time. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do after you've gotten rid of that debt is to make sure that your emergency fund is a real fund that you can rely on in case of an emergency. So try to stockpile at least 3 to 6 months worth of your expenses in that cash reserve, so that when you are faced with some kind of burden, you don't necessarily go into more debt trying to cover that cost. You have cash reserves, you have an emergency fund, fund in place should something go wrong. Now, after you've done that, the next thing you're gonna wanna do is try to pick up some extra work, whether that is just a side hustle, part-time job, or a second job that you work on nights and weekends, whatever it may be. Try to get some extra income in the door. Start your own business, maybe freelance on the side, maybe go to your current employer and ask for a raise, maybe look for a new job altogether, but try to increase your income any way you can. Now, after you've done that and started to increase your income, start setting aside more and more money for your retirement, because I promise you, any problems you have now will compound and get bigger in the future. And the last thing you want to do when you're in your retirement years, when you're 65, 70 years old, is worry about money. I mean, at that point in our lives, we've made it so far. We've made it past a career, successful career. If we've had families, we've had lives, we've had friends, everything has gone right for us. We've made it to that beautiful age. You don't want to be stressed about money at that time, because again, that's just something that's going to really impact your life and really impact your health at that age. So put as much money as you can, put as much money as possible towards your retirement so that you're not faced with those stresses when you're much older. And finally, the 8th step in this process is to take small steps. You're not just going to be able to eliminate financial stress overnight. That's not going to happen. But if you map it out for yourself and put little baby steps in place, small steps in place, you'll be able to do it. You'll be able to make it a manageable task for you to complete. And then before you know it, 6 months down the line, 12 months later, you'll look back and be like, wow, I made a lot of progress, because you then tackled it one small step at a time. And ultimately, guys, let me just tell you, I've dealt with some of these problems. I mean, we all have financial stress at some point in our lives. I know even, to this day, I still have it. I still get it once in a while. This pandemic has not made anyone's lives any easier when it comes to managing financial stress. But let me just tell you that it is something that you can manage. You just have to be willing to do the work it takes, stay focused, and keep your eye on the prize, and you'll get there. Before you know it, you'll have your finances in control, and financial stress won't be really a regular part of your life. And unfortunately, I wish I could say that you could eliminate it forever, but that's just not the case either. All right, guys, well, that's all I had for this video. If you agree or disagree with my list, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and haven't done so already, please take a moment and just click the subscribe button down below, and we'll see you next time.